You're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. But you might be losing years of your life to things that don't matter. Not in dramatic ways, in quiet, invisible, socially acceptable ways. In this video, I will show you the 4 shifts that stop the bleed and give you your time back. So let's start with the first one. Shift number 1 is to stop prioritizing reactivity. So here's the first way that we lose years. We live in reaction mode. Emails, texts, news, notifications, quick checks that become 27 minutes. You wake up, you reach for your phone, and before you've had a single original thought, you're already inside someone else's agenda. And culturally, this is completely normalized. We almost wear it like a badge of honor. I'm just so busy. My inbox is insane. I've been putting out fires all day. But here's what the research shows. There's a concept called attention residue. When you switch tasks, especially from something shallow to something meaningful, part of your brain stays stuck on the previous task. Your cognitive performance drops. Your thinking gets shallower. In other words, you're there, but you're not fully there. And the average person checks their email dozens of times a day. Some studies say 60 or 70 or even more. That's not productivity, that is fragmentation. If your inbox is your to-do list, you've accidentally signed up to be the unpaid assistant in everyone else's life. I know this pattern intimately. In medicine, I lived by the pager. It dictated everything. I'd be mid-conversation, mid-chart, mid-thought, and suddenly, interruption. Again, and again, and again. And when I first started my business, same energy, different device. Refresh email, refresh analytics, refresh comments. It felt productive. It felt responsive. It felt responsible. It was mostly reactive. And the shift that changed everything for me was embarrassingly simple. Creation before consumption. Before I check email, before I look at comments, before I scroll, I create. That might be writing or filming or mapping out a talk or working on a new framework. The point is, I move my life forward before I manage what already exists. Even 60 focused minutes of creation in the morning compounds in a way that 3 scattered hours never will. Because the issue isn't time, it's priority. You don't find time for what matters, you protect it. And the deeper layer here is that this is an identity shift. Are you someone who reacts all day or someone who initiates? Reactive people feel busy. Initiators build things. And when you zoom out over 5 years, that difference is enormous. So if you do nothing else from this video, try this. For the next week, if you're in control of your schedule, protect the first 60 minutes of your workday. And if you're not in control of your workday schedule, then find a way to carve out some time for your own projects as early in the day as possible. No inbox, no scrolling, no reacting, just build. You will feel the difference almost immediately. And more importantly, your future self will feel it too. All right, shift number 2. The second way that we quietly lose years, it's indecision. Not dramatic indecision, not, I can't decide whether to move to a different country. I'm talking about the daily, low-grade hesitation that drains your momentum. Should I start this? Should I wait? Is this the right time? What if there's a better option? Maybe I need one more course. Maybe I need to think about it more. It feels responsible. It feels thoughtful. It feels mature. But most of the time, it's fear dressed up as research. You've probably heard about decision paralysis. The more options that we have, the harder it becomes to choose. And perfectionism, which a lot of high-functioning people quietly carry, is strongly linked to procrastination. It's not because you're incapable, it's because you don't want to make the wrong choice. But here's what's happening under the surface. Unfinished things take up mental bandwidth. There's something called the Zeigarnik effect. Our brains hold on to incomplete tasks and unresolved decisions, which creates this, low-level cognitive tension. So if you've got 12 maybes floating around, you're not tired, you're buffering. Some people don't have a time problem. They have 37 open tabs in their brain. And I have definitely lived this. When I was deciding whether to leave medicine, I, of course, could have stayed in analysis forever. More pros and cons list, more conversations, just one more year. From the outside, that would have looked wise and measured and strategic. But internally, it was stagnation. The moment that I decided, not perfectly, not 100% certain, but decided, something shifted immediately. Energy came back. Clarity followed the decision, not the other way around. And I actually did a full video recently breaking down how decisive people think differently, because this is a massive topic all on its own. If you're someone who chronically second guesses yourself, definitely go watch that one next. But here's the core idea. Decisive people don't have more clarity. They generate clarity by moving. So here's a rule that will save you years. If a decision is reversible, decide at 70%. 70% certainty is enough. If you can undo it, pivot it, refine it, or correct it, you do not need perfect confidence. You need movement because momentum compounds. Hesitation calcifies. And over 5 years, the person who decides at 70% and adjusts will lap the person waiting for 100%. So shift number 2 is this: stop overthinking decisions. Again, this isn't only about productivity, it's identity. Are you someone who trusts yourself or someone who endlessly audits yourself? Look at something that you have been circling. Could be a project, a conversation, a pitch, a boundary. Instead of asking, is this perfect? Ask, is this good enough to move? Then move. Now, if you are watching this and thinking, okay, I do this, I overthink, I hesitate, I leak time in subtle ways, this usually isn't a time management issue. It's a self-sabotage pattern. And most self-sabotage just doesn't look dramatic. It looks responsible, thoughtful, and careful. I actually created a free guide that walks you through this very common pattern, and it's called the Self-Sabotage Recovery Guide. It's short, it's practical, and it will probably show you exactly where your time has been going. So you can download it by clicking the link below. Okay, let's talk about something even more uncomfortable. Shift number 3 is the one that people don't always love, but it might be the most powerful. It's this: stop investing in low-return relationships and start curating your environment. This one might be the biggest leak of all. You are losing years of your life in conversations that don't move you forward. Not toxic, dramatic relationships, not obvious villains, just low-return dynamics. The friend who only talks about problems, the group chat that just lives in sarcasm and gossip, the colleague who drains every interaction into a complaint session, the social circle that subtly reinforces playing small. And because nothing is technically wrong, you stay. You nod, you listen, and you absorb. Here's what the research tells us: emotions are contagious. Behavioral norms are contagious. Even ambition levels are contagious. Studies in social networks show that the people around you influence your habits, your health, your standards, often without you realizing it. We become calibrated to the room. If the room normalizes mediocrity, you normalize mediocrity. If the room normalizes growth, you grow. And this isn't about arrogance, it's about exposure. Some people don't need a new planner. They need a different dinner table. I've experienced this at multiple stages of my life. When I left medicine and entered entrepreneurship, I realized very quickly that some of the conversations that I'd been having for years were no longer aligned with where I was going. Not bad people, not bad friends, just different trajectories. If I wanted to think bigger, I needed to be around people who were thinking bigger. If I wanted to build at a higher level, I needed to hear different standards. That shift alone accelerated everything because environment compresses time. When you're around people who are slightly ahead of you in ambition, in discipline, in thinking, you collapse years of trial and error. And when you're constantly around people who are circling and stuck and rehearsing all the reasons why things won't work, you stretch out your timeline. Again, this doesn't require burning bridges or making dramatic exits. It's smaller than that. One less low-return hangout per week. One more high-quality conversation. One more room that stretches you. One less hour in a negativity loop. That's it. Because here's the identity layer. The future version of you has different conversations, different references, different standards, different expectations. If you want the life of future you need their environment. And this is where people hesitate. They worry it will sound selfish, but protecting your time and protecting your trajectory are not selfish. They are responsible. You only get so many years. Who you spend them with matters. All right, shift number 4 coming up next is the quietest one, and it's the one that determines whether you look back 5 years from now with regret or not. It's this: stop waiting for a big moment. Start compounding micro shifts. So let me explain. So the 4th way that we lose years, we wait. We wait for the clean slate, the perfect season, the calmer schedule, the clearer sign. January 1st, we imagine that change is going to arrive in a dramatic, cinematic pivot. But the most real transformation doesn't look like that. It looks like a Tuesday. There's a reason the idea of compounding shows up everywhere. Finance, physics, behavioral science. Small inputs, repeated consistently, create disproportionate outcomes over time. Darren Hardy wrote about this in The Compound Effect. It's the idea that tiny, seemingly insignificant actions can produce massive results when they're repeated consistently over time. And this isn't motivational fluff, it's math. A 1% shift repeated daily doesn't look impressive until 5 years pass. Then it looks like a different life. What delays most people isn't laziness, it's overestimating what can happen in a week and underestimating what can happen in 3 years. I see this constantly. People wait until they feel fully confident before they get started. They wait until they have more time, more energy, more certainty. But confidence doesn't precede action. It accumulates from it. When I started creating content for YouTube, there was no big moment, no viral explosion, no glamorous launch. It was just consistent Tuesdays. Film, upload, improve, repeat. At the time, it felt small. Looking back, it changed everything. And here's the quiet truth. You don't waste years by doing nothing. You waste years by postponing small things. The walk you didn't take, the email that you didn't send, the pitch that you didn't make, the skill that you didn't practice, or the boundary that you didn't set. Individually, these things seem trivial. Collectively, though, they shape your identity, and identity compounds. So here's the replacement shift. Stop waiting for a breakthrough. Start stacking micro evidence. Ask yourself every day, what would the future version of me do with this hour? Not the dramatic version, not the fantasy version, the disciplined version. And then do that. It will feel almost boring until one day it doesn't. And when you zoom out 5 years from now, you won't see one giant leap. You'll see compounded proof. And that's what stops the bleed. And incidentally, that shift from behavior to identity, this is actually what I talked about in my TEDx talk earlier this year. Because once you understand that identity drives your habits, your decisions, your standards, You stop negotiating with yourself. And that's when time stops slipping through your fingers. Okay, bottom line here, you're not lazy, you're leaking. That's the truth. Not in dramatic, headline-making ways. In small, socially acceptable ways. You react instead of initiate. You hesitate instead of decide. You maintain relationships that shrink you. And you wait for a moment that never arrives. And none of it feels catastrophic until you zoom out 5 years, 10 years, and you realize the loss wasn't explosive, it was gradual. Here's what I think about more now than I did in my 30s. Years matter, not in a morbid way, in a strategic way. You don't get infinite decades to experiment with low standards. At some point, you stop asking, what do I feel like doing today? And you start asking, who am I becoming? Because this isn't about productivity. It's about trajectory. The person who protects their mornings builds differently. The person who decides at 70% moves differently. The person who curates their environment grows differently. And the person who compounds small actions evolves differently. And 5 years from now, they look like a different human. You don't need a dramatic reinvention. You need to stop hemorrhaging time in ways that feel normal. That's it. Now, this video hit a nerve, especially the decision piece. As I mentioned, I did a deeper breakdown recently on how decisive people actually think and move. And that is the next video that I would watch. And I'm queuing it up for you on the next screen because once you stop hesitating, everything accelerates. I will link it next, and then I will see you there. Our brains hold on to incomplete tasks and resolved... No. Okay, reset. Oh, man. Say it one more time. All right. Whew. That was intense. Okay, on to the next.